I welcome you all to our special program in Channel 9, AI, Future in Bangladesh. AI, artificial intelligence, have been a point of discussion among many of us, and there is increasing fear that artificial intelligence would take away jobs, they would turn us into mechanical human beings or more dependent into digital technology. But there is also enormous potential, and there is a probability that many of our challenges would be met by AI. Our computing technology would increase multifolds, and at one point of time, our space technology, our industries, our medical technology, and many other fields would be heavily helped by artificial intelligence. We have two gentlemen here today representing digitalnet.ai, and they have a product called Janus. We are going to talk about it because this is a kind of a revolutionary product helping different governments and organizations all over the world. Let us introduce to you Mr. Chris Tejgaon. He is the Chief Strategy Officer, and Mr. Atik Khan, Executive Vice President. And at one point of this program, we would try to connect to Dr. Alan Bidow from USA, and he is the brain of this organization, the Chief AI Officer. My first question to you is, when we hear about AI, we always think about ChatGPT because that is the most popular AI platform. We also talk about cloud. We also talk about different AI-based programs and apps available in the net. In the simplest possible language, can you describe to us what is AI?
So, AI is a very general term. It really, what it really means is things that normally need human intelligence to do, it allows a computer to do. So it can think, it can reason, it can remember, and then some of the more advanced systems can even have personalities, that type of thing. But really at the core, AI is about using visual, language, other mechanisms to be able to communicate things that used to take a human to do.
So there is a fear that AI is going to challenge the capabilities of the human race by increasing the speed of the work and the perfection, because we have errors. AI would have less errors, and it would decrease our employment. Our job market is going to suffer. Is that true?
I don't see it that way. We certainly don't approach things that way. Our goal in what we're doing is to enhance the person's job. And you might think, well, you say that, but does that only mean for an office worker or something? No. This could be for a farmer. This could be for someone who's raising cattle, or this could be for, it's really about AI is, again, specifically to Janus, we create virtual humans, if you will, and they have a specialty, just like a human does. They have a brain that thinks, so that, I don't want to use, the technical term isn't important, but it has like short-term and long-term memory and archive memory, that type of thing.
It can remember the instructions?
It can remember the instructions, and more importantly, if something was left out by accident, it can ask the human, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. The human can tell it, and now it will remember that. So next time, when it gets to that, it can do it.
And maybe AI can measure the right amount of fertilizer, insecticide, the right weather to raise the cattle, or the right food. AI can do that.
Exactly.
And help the owner to more perfect action.
Correct. The goal really, and I've spoken to several company owners here in multiple sectors, and I will tell you, none of them have said, I want to reduce my workforce. They've all said, how can I get more out of my existing workforce? So that's really our goal, is certainly not to reduce the workforce.
AI can be a very good helper for the human being who are working to make their job easier And perfect.
or faster.
Or faster.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, yes. And maybe take actions or remind them of what is left out, what should be done. So this is very interesting. So we have seen a lot of programs, and now these programs are very popular, the chatbots. They're chatting with the human being, showing reactions, emotional reactions. Even they are creating pictures. And we have also seen AI-based videos and other things. So would it be fair to say that this chatbot or this AI is one kind of a smart human being who has a more advanced system, and it is closer to a supervised office or a digital specialist?
It can, but
Maybe
there
we
is
can use advisors, AI advisors?
absolutely. Our AI is a persona-based AI. We have 2,000 plus personas is already built into the system.
Do we have AI agriculturist
Absolutely.
and AI host?
Absolutely.
Oh, that is bad for me.
No,
Not as good as you, though. No.
obviously. It's going to make you get information in the fingertip of your, in the faster, more efficient way that would take you a day or two to do your research.
So how can Janus, what kind of personas you have created in Janus? Can you give us some examples?
You asked the same thing, a host, an engineer,
Oh.
a farmer.
A producer who's talking to me over the talkback.
Exactly.
There is an AI
TV
for that, AI person for that.
There is.
There's ones for human resources, for like a developer, so like a Java, or programming. Really for almost anything. And with the Janus platform, we have, and I think a good way to explain it is with ChatGPT, you can think of that using your office analogy. You can think of that as a secretary or someone who answers the phone.
Yes.
You pick up the phone, you ask ChatGPT a question, and it gives you an answer. With Janus, or agentic AI is what this is, you think of it as an office full of people, and where you have specialists. So each person in an office is good at what they do, and people in finance don't try to do the things that people in marketing are doing. So that's the way that we build our personas, our different agents. And then we have a super agent. It's called Zeus.
Oh.
I don't want to get too deep.
Like a supervisor?
Yes, sir. So it's orchestration. So just like you would not want 100 employees running around with no management or no, same thing in AI. So you need to have that super agent kind of sitting on top, organizing, and overseeing, just to make sure everybody does their job.
And he can also push someone to work more?
He can. And even sometimes, if, let's say that we'll use like cybersecurity. So, when you get like a hack or someone's trying to do something like that, Zeus can see that this one agent is being overwhelmed. So he can stand up.
Send other agents?
Exactly. He can create another agent.
That's more like the movie Matrix.
It is a little bit like that, yes.
Yeah, because there was one agent and it used to replicate.
That's exactly.
And they had the same face but different actions. So this is quite a sci-fi thing. So are we getting into a sci-fi world with these kind of technologies?
I don't want to scare anyone. I don't think we're looking at. I don't think we're looking at Terminator. But yes, we are. We are getting into.
This is very interesting.
It is. There are things. You can get a chip implanted in your head and control your phone, or some of the new AI glasses where you can see a teleprompter in your eye as opposed to having to look. Yes, it's becoming sci-fi.
The possibility is like endless. So let me come to you another question. That is like, are we going to have actors and actresses who can act like the real human being if AI is like very much developed?
The technology is already there.
Oh.
Technology, if you look at...
But Janus doesn't do that, isn't it?
No, our platform, not yet. That's not
Yes.
our concentration
You're more into helping the organizations and the government and improving the macro level environment of
industrial
the world. Yes.
revolution kind of a deal. We are more business centric.
So what does Janus do?
Janus is the brain. Janus, as he was explaining, Janus is the
main platform.
Yes, the platform that takes care of all the other agents. Like Janus is the whole platform.
And Janus can make state-of-the-art design according to the need of the clients?
That's exactly, yes, sir. You put it perfectly. So the way that Janus works is there's an interface, and you can say, what is your problem? Like, what are you trying to achieve with this? And we put that in there.
You'll design that according to the client's demand.
Exactly. And then what we do is we optimize it. And so we use AI to make the request even better. Then we put that into Zeus, as I was just telling you, and Zeus builds it. Zeus builds the agents that are needed. So if you remember my analogy before, multiple agents.
Exactly.
So it builds all the whatever, maybe it's a specialist, maybe it's a compliance officer. Again, it just depends on what we're building. Then it builds the tools. So each agent will need some kind of tool. So I'll give you a very quick example. There's a thing called OCR, it's optical character recognition. So if you have a piece of paper like that and you want to put it into a computer,
it'll need kind of a camera or a scanner.
Exactly.
Okay. So input device is there.
Yes. So,
but it will be operated by the AI itself.
Right. And this is and this is just one example. In Janus, we have 6 different OCR algorithms because we found that this one might be better for a photo and this one might be better for text and so on.
Oh, great. So there is a subspecialist in every way.
So Zeus is building those agents, it's building those tools, and then most importantly, it's building the workflows. How do these agents work together? How do they use the tools? And then it builds the actual dashboard, the actual interface. So it builds all of this. Now, and it does it very quickly. Now, at that point, that's when we would sit with the customer and we would fine tune it and we would train it. The analogy I like to use often is if you hired a new employee and they could be very, very good. On day one, you would not expect them to know how everything works. It's the same thing with AI. You can create, you have a new agent, it'll be an expert in its field, but it won't know how your company works. And so then it works with it.
By working with the company, the AI can also self-program itself?
Yes.
It can. So this is very, very interesting. We will take a small break and come back in the program, and I would like you to describe in a nutshell how Janus works. You have described it, but we would like to know the hierarchy of the system so that the audience can understand how they can benefit from Janus. We are taking a short break and we will come back to the program and we will discuss about the interesting world of AI and Janus developed by digitalai.net. Welcome back to the show, and in between the recess we have connected with Dr. Alan Bideau. He's from USA. He's the Chief AI Officer of the organization. So Dr. Alan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
So we had been talking about this unique program, the platform that you have developed. We would just want to know that if someone asks, why would I need Janus AI if other programs or other platforms already exist? What is the difference between the product that you have developed, the platform that you have developed with other popular AI platforms?
Yeah, that's a great question. The challenge that folks have is that they're using large language models to, like ChatGPT, to try to solve all problems. And we know from years of research that, those types of models are not, optimized to solve for decisions, to solve for behaviors, to use different tools. And so our model and our platform, we combine multiple types of AI into one easy to use framework that allows a user to scale, allows a user to use a new tool, to optimize, to really hone in on what their problem is and use the right AI for the right problem so they get the best answer.
Is there any possibility that, like other platforms, we have seen in the past that they get attacked by virus, they get corrupt, we have to continuously maintain AI department in any organization to constantly fight back or troubleshoot. Can this AI platform troubleshoot itself?
It can. So the way that we built it is that Janus, in essence, has a security ring around it. And so as new viruses, new agents try to penetrate or attack Janus, Janus is watching what's taking place. It's reacting based on what it sees, so it understands what it can do internally as well as what it can do externally. And by doing that, we help prevent the numerous types of attacks that it can go under, while still trying to allow a user to just go about their business and use our platform to solve their problem and not be affected by those.
We have also seen that huge training had been required in many platforms to use the platform. So that requires a lot of time, energy, and also resources. How easy is to operate your platform, or can anybody get acquainted with it and use it according to their demand?
Well, what I tell people is I'm trying to put myself out of a job. I don't think it's right that it's so hard for an individual user who has no experience in AI and cannot afford to just throw a bunch of machine learning experts at a problem. We have abstracted a lot of that hard stuff out. And so you leverage Zeus to build your tools, to build your agents, to do all of those other things. And then as a user, then all you have to do is configure a platform, get a license, and you're off and running. I tell people, 7 clicks or less, we want people to be able to deploy an agent or a mission to solve their problem.
This is very interesting. Actually, I'm getting interested to see this whole thing that I've been listening to, because I had no idea that AI could be this interesting. And as far as I have heard, Janus seems to be very interesting. It can also have different genders in this AI, like AI thinking that he's a male, or AI thinking that she's a female?
So again, and I'll let Alan comment on this, because one of the things that, one of the things that Alan was able to do, which I still am amazed by, is, when you think of an AI, you think of the movies and stuff like that. They're very androgynous. They're very,
yes,
computer.
Too many males everywhere.
Yeah.
Too many males. Yes.
So but they're also they talk, they're very. And with what Alan was able to do is bring in those personalities. Literally, you can make it more reasonable, or you can make it more challenging, or you can. So you literally have these dials where you can move and control the personality. And so when you do that, you can also make the agent a female. And unlike ChatGPT or Grok or some of those other ones, which you can say, act like a female and whatever question. But then you have to remind it. With ours, you're actually building it. And so, Alan, I don't know if you wanted to add on to any of that.
Yeah, I mean, so what we are doing is we are giving them characteristic traits, so that becomes part of their DNA. So they fundamentally believe that they are whatever profession, whatever gender, whatever demographic, whatever behavioral model we decide to use. That is fundamentally how they're trained, how they continue to become experts, and how they are so good at what they're doing from a job perspective. Because if we're not saying please pretend to be X, Y, and Z, we are prescribing those, and through that prescription, then we don't have to worry about hallucinations. We don't have to worry about some of the other problems that are plaguing small businesses, large businesses, all across the board, where they're not seeing the results. It's because they're using the wrong type of model to try to solve their problems.
So this is very interesting. I asked this question because I'm also a physician, and there are a lot of patients who actually want to talk to a female about their problems, especially the female patients. They want to talk or interact with a female nurse or a female person. And in our country, it is kind of a social stigma or a social taboo that female should only see the female. So if your AI can create that kind of personality, yet deliver the same level of service to every patient, this is very interesting. Is it possible?
It's one of the things that we have really tried to pride ourselves on, in that it's not only male, female, it's different, ways that they interact. It's different ways that they behave, because, a female, for instance, medical provider is not going to behave the same as a, female that is a teacher or something like that. So those personalities, they're quantifiable. We solve for them. We prescribe the behaviors that flow from those, and then that drives what their behaviors, their actions, and their decisions are. And the decision piece is the most important piece, because that's what gets you your stickiness, where the human uses it, they are comfortable with it, and then they make better decisions.
And different institutions have different organizational goals, principles, policies, strategies. Janus can also work according to that. The agents can also work according to the principle and the policy, vision, mission of different organizations.
Absolutely. One of the tenets of our platform is that, as you are giving it your corporate secret sauce, those agents are being trained on that secret sauce. Now, the great thing is we can do this so fast that we don't have to take that information that is generated in those agents as they, that learn that, and pass that back somewhere else and then give it to another agent so they have expertise. So there's no mixing. It doesn't make any sense for us to do that, because we can do it so quickly that, we leave them there. They don't ever have to leave a customer's environment, so the customer never has to worry about their secret sauce going to a competitor. And fundamentally, that's as good as of a security measure as we can come up with from a PI. Trying to protect your proprietary information, those sort of things.
Thank you, Dr. Allen, for being with us. We are taking a short break, and after that, we will come back to the show. Welcome back to the show. We are talking about future in Bangladesh of artificial intelligence. We have actually two gentlemen here, and we also connected with another gentleman from USA, the Chief AI Officer, and we are very much enlightened by the enormous potential and the possibility of AI in future, and also helping Bangladesh. Can you tell me how Bangladeshi organizations can benefit from your platform, and small economies like us who are trying to grow more and actually exponentially increase our growth to meet with the huge competition all over the world? How Janus can help us?
So it can help in many different ways, and some of them we've already spoken about, yes. Which is, taking your existing workforce and expanding it. One of the
increasing the efficiency.
Well, so for example, we're working with a pharmaceutical company. And they wanted to use AI to get a better insight into their sales. And if what components or what things are affecting their sales? Like, for example, does the weather affect their sales? Does holidays affect their sales? Those types of things. Now, this is at a very basic level. But if they can then look at it from a future perspective, then they can start making plans. They know what drug needs to go where, but ahead of time. So they're not sending a drug to a certain pharmacy who is overstocked. So kind of optimizing that. So that's supply chain. So I guess what I would say is it's, especially in a developing world, I think it's about, and we talked about this earlier, about really putting the tools in the hands of the people who are doing the work. As Dr. Allen mentioned earlier, the goal of Janus was to make it very easy. So to use you don't have to be an AI developer. You don't have to have gone to school forever to understand.
We can just talk to it like a human being.
You can. And in fact, that is one of the things that we added in. So for that pharmaceutical company, the head of the company now can just ask it questions. What were my sales, in this town or in this region for this drug on this date? And was there any correlation between that and whatever? You just literally have a conversation. And unlike what you used to have to do to run a report, you'd have to have one of your people run it, and then they'd have to take this table and match it with this table. You no longer have to do that. You can instantly
have it, almost in no time.
Exactly.
And if I may add, yes. The possibility is limitless. For a farmer, the weather prediction, for a poultry farmer to see the noise level, the pollution level, to all these things, if you can predict a day or two early, for a vet to see a strain of bird flu that might come on so and so time because you are seeing those strains, those for a country like Bangladesh is very helpful.
What about long-term planning of the government? Like when a government takes a huge mega project, sometimes government fails to calculate the risks and benefits. Sometimes the mega projects turn out to be a failure because of a certain small error. So can Janus help there, like to make it more perfect or predict the future of any big mega projects?
Absolutely. I mean, so we are talking. Recently we are just came to know government new administration vision for 2041 program that government has implemented or thinking about implementing, bringing this kind of
new
technologies to enhance big data, cyber security. These are the things that will
be helped by Janus.
Exactly.
And you think that Janus can help us increase our participation in the future world, which would be much more controlled with artificial intelligence?
If I could give you an example, if you can calculate exactly inch or two variation on a bridge that is going to be built from one point to another, if that can save a tremendous amount of money or accident from happening, that is a...
Janus can help in perfecting our designs.
That's exactly.
And maybe cut down the cost of a program.
Absolutely. And also too, when you talk about some of those mega programs, Janus would not attack it. Would not view it as this big, huge thing. We would use the specialists, as we've spoken about, and this specialist would focus on this small part, and then this one on this, and then they would all come together to share the data. So very similar to
So
the
it
way.
can see block by block and then add on and see the whole picture.
Exactly.
So that's how it makes it more perfect.
And
This
the
is
one other
interesting.
thing you asked, I just want to comment on this because I personally, one of my goals is to use Bangladeshi people. So as Dr. Allen mentioned, you don't have to be a 20-year-old veteran of AI. Our goal is to develop some things here and actually export them from Bangladesh to some of the neighboring countries and using Bangladesh developers, using Bangladesh resources, just because we're getting a bunch of traction here, so then we want to spread it out.
And also social organizations can be helped by Janus. The people who do charity, mega charity programs, have lots of clinics, helping stations, doing mass education. Janus can help them also?
Yes. In fact, we're talking to a couple different universities, and this would go for any school. Each student gets their own agent, their own study person.
Study partner? Like?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
But here's the cool part. The agent they're an expert in the field, whatever, maybe it's elementary, maybe it's college, maybe it's medical school. We'll use medical school. So the agent is an expert in medical. But then we feed the agent your test scores. We feed the agent your professor's assessment. Maybe they even do a self-assessment. And so the agent starts learning or starts understanding how I learn. So maybe I learn visually, but Atik learns better auditorially. So the agent would speak to him, but for me, I would take sample quizzes, or it would create, and over time, it would learn more and more and more.
So the agent would be communicating with the human being based on their own specialty or own strength. So a person who can understand visual more, the agent would be showing him more visual things, and the person who wants to read more, the agent would be providing him more reading materials.
Exactly.
This is amazing. This is like a gourmet food, personal to the personal taste.
And the nice thing, and if the student has a learning disability, it can help
him. So can it help in the education of autistic children or the spectrum disorders? Because some of them have language difficulties, some of them have social communication difficulties. So your agent can also help them teaching?
It certainly can help. I don't want to make it sound like it's a miracle, but yes, I mean, we actually have a solution right now that it's an accessibility thing. So it looks at a website or it looks at an application and make sure, this is in the U.S., and make sure it conforms to the Disabilities Act or
to the
exactly.
standard system where every person can have an access.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Oh, that's very nice. We are not actually looking for any miracles because science is not a miracle. But we are actually looking at a system where it can help in a lot of things in a way a human being does, and maybe a better human being does, like no corruption, no bad thinking, no self-interest, but it is always helping another human being to achieve more.
And it doesn't
or
get
an organization
tired.
to achieve more.
But yes.
So this is amazing.
No
I'm really
judging.
intrigued by the idea that I would have someone who would tell me that you can do this program better if you do it in this way. So what if every person is using AI? Then where would be the competing advantage?
Well, see, I think that's the unique part is if we all use ChatGPT as an example, then yes, you would all. But with Janus, your focus or your agents are going to be yours. So they're going to grow with you. Mine will grow with me. So that you would still have it. If I have
extension of my own brain
in a roundabout way, yes. In some scenarios, but extending it, it's not like everyone is going to have the same capabilities. All the agent can do is expand on your existing capabilities.
So I'm actually very much interested after learning all these. I wish I could increase the duration of our show but we have to end it here because we have a limitation. We have to end our show here, but I'm really very happy that we could invite you to Channel 9 and we could introduce this groundbreaking technology to our audience in Bangladesh. Thank you for visiting us on Channel 9, talking to us.
Thank you.
And also we thank Dr. Allen, who connected with us from USA. Thank you for being with us, our viewers in Channel 9. আমি এখন একটু বাংলা আপনাদেরকে বুঝিয়ে বলি। আমরা আজকে যে কথাগুলি বলেছি এই অনুষ্ঠানে সেটি হচ্ছে আর্টিফিশিয়াল ইন্টেলিজেন্স নিয়ে এবং এমন একটি প্ল্যাটফর্ম যে প্ল্যাটফর্মটি মানুষ যেভাবে চিন্তা করে সেভাবে চিন্তা করতে পারে এবং যে কোনো গ্রাহকের চাহিদা অনুযায়ী মানুষের মতোই সে কাজ করতে পারে এবং সে একটি অফিসের মধ্যে একজন রিসেপশনিস্ট যেভাবে কাজ করে সেভাবেও কাজ করতে পারে, আবার ওই অফিসে যদি একজন সায়েন্টিস্ট থাকেন সেইভাবেও কাজ করতে পারেন। এটি একটি পার্সোনা বেসড বা পার্সোনা তৈরি করতে পারে, ব্যক্তিত্ব তৈরি করতে পারে এমন একটি এআই প্ল্যাটফর্ম। থ্যাংক ইউ ফর ভিজিটিং আস, থ্যাংক ইউ ফর showing your interest in our program, and definitely Channel 9 would be bringing you new technologies, new ideas, new things in future, and sometimes we would do our programs in English because we invite people here who talks in English, but with AI it can also talk to you in Bangla because Janus said that it can also learn Bangla and talk to you in Bangla. So Janus যদি আপনাদের সামনে আসে, Janus কিন্তু আমার মতো কিছুক্ষণ ইংরেজি কিছুক্ষণ বাংলায় কথা বলতে পারবে। আপনাদের সবাইকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাংক ইউ ফর বিং উইথ আস।